Hello friends, so today in this video we're going to discuss all the 4 problems from the bi-weekly contest 20. I've actually given a virtual contest for this problem. That's why I'm actually making a video on all the 4 problems because I've solved it during the contest. So I just thought to make a video on that. So let's start. The first problem is sort the integers by the number of 1 bits in that. So you are given array and you have to first find out for every number, if you convert that number into binary representations, so it consists of zeros and ones, how many ones are there for every number, and sort them according to the ascending order of their ones. And if two numbers have same number of ones in their bit representation, then you have to sort them according to their value itself. Okay, so if two numbers have same number of ones, then sort them according to the number itself. Okay, and just return out the sorted array now. So you can check out for every number, find out how many set bits are there, or you can also use a inbuilt function which is called the __ built-in _ pop count. It will actually tell you how many set bits are there in any number. So I just make a map for which is actually map is used to store out or actually map out for number of bits to a vector which is storing out what numbers are there which is having this number of bits. So if I will store a vector, so let's say that I have find out 5 bits in some number, so I will make a vector for that. I have 2 bits in some number, so I will push out all the numbers which has 2 bits in some vector, and I am actually making a map of that. So I will iterate over all the numbers in this array vector and just use this built-in pop count function to store out how many bits are there in each number, and just accordingly push back that number in the map in the particular vector, and then sort out. Then what we'll do, we'll make an answer vector to just return out the particular order. We'll iterate over every possible map position because the map has actually sorted them out according to their bit position now. Okay, so we will iterate over every map position, and now for every bit position there is a vector. So we will take out that vector, sort that out, because vector is actually telling you that okay, for all these numbers they have the same bits. So if they have the same bits, you have to print out accordingly such that they have to be sorted in the ascending order of their values. So the vector is storing out all the numbers, so you just have to sort them out. So iterate over the map from top to bottom, and you're just giving a vector of map or vector of that number. Just take that in this OK, sort them out, and just print out or push all the numbers in the answer vector, and just print out that answer vector. I hope you understand. You can just zoom in this code and look at this code here also. The second problem is apply discount every n order. So you just given you have to just make a discount supermarket system in which every nth customer you have to give certain discount which is given to you. So you are actually also given some product ID and their prices. So the customer actually came in and you are actually given that you have to first initialize a cashier system which will store or map for particular ID what is the price. Now for every person you have to prepare their bill. So you have to keep count of which person is this, if it is the nth person or not. If it is the nth person, you have to also subtract out some discount from their bill. If they are not the nth person, just print out their bill value. Okay, then for every person they are actually giving you what product they are buying, so product ID and how much. So maybe they are buying the second ID product 5 times, so you are also have to make a bill out of that. So it's very simple. So you have to first initialize this cashier function which is actually giving you total number of what is n, how many after which number of person you have to give the discount. So that's why I make the global so that I can use this in this function also. This is the discount value you will be giving to the every nth customer. Then you will make a map out of every product and their prices out. Then for every person, this get bill function is called, which will return out a double value which is their bill. So you will initialize it with 0, and for every customer you will increment their value, so that this is the first customer, second customer, and so on. Okay, first prepare the original bill. So you will iterate over the products the person has bought. Okay, and the total bill is for particular product you have to find their price. You can use that map to find out their price, and multiply for every price, multiply how much time they have bought that particular item, multiply that, and then get the total price. So now if that particular person is the nth person, you can find out using it mod value. So for every nth person, the mod value will become 0, and for that person you have to subtract out their discount value according to the formula. Okay, and then just print out if it is the nth person, subtract out the discount price. If it is not the nth person, the total bill is storing out the total bill, and then that's the answer. Okay, the third problem is good. It is telling you to find out a number of substring consisting of all the 3 characters. So you are given a string consisting of A, B and C's, and you have to tell us how many substring continuous strings are there such that it consists of at least one occurrence of all of the 3 characters A, B and C. So you have to tell that how many substrings are there such that it consists of all the 3 characters at least once. Now first I thought about how to solve this problem out, but then I realized that okay, if I move from left to right and I just find out A, B and C, the point I encountered A, B and C, now all the substrings after that are also, if I take out A, B, C, this is as the one string. I can also take this as a substring because it has A, B, C. I hope you get the point. So every substring after getting the first A, B, C part is also the answer for that. So you have to, I just use a 2-pointer technique. So the first pointer is standing at the first point. So I will tell you with this example only. So as you can see, I can just paste out this example here. So change this color. Okay. So as you can see, I can use 2 pointers. So what I've actually done here is I will take one pointer here, and the other pointer will move from left to right till it find out a substring which is consisting of all A, B and C. So you can make a vector or 3 variables and move from left to right. This, like this J pointer is moving from left to right, so this is consisting of 1A. So you will increment the value for A by 1, then move this to this value, this is B, so increment this, then you will come to this point, this is C, increment this, and whenever you see that all the 3 values are greater than equal to 1, which means that now from this point to this point this is a substring which consists of all the 3 characters at least once. So if this is the answer which is consisting of this is one substring, this can also be a substring, this can also be a substring, this can also be a substring. So wherever is my this pointer is at the third position. So this value minus the total length is, as you can see, 1 2, so it is equal to 6. So 6 minus 3 plus 1, because I'm also taking this into account, so it is equal to 4. So as you can see, 4 substrings I can form if I take my starting point at this. So as you can see, 1 2 3 and 4, these 4 substrings are there starting from the first position. I hope you get the point. Now I will move this left pointer to the second position. Now because I've moved this, I have excluded my A, so I will make this equal to 0. Now I will again move my J pointer till the point I have all the 3 ABCs greater than equal to 1. So I will make this go to this point. Now as you can see, again I have encountered A, so I will increase this by 1. And I have now also come to a point in which I have found a substring which is consisting of all the 3 characters. So now starting from this point, all the substrings ending at this and this will be having all the occurrence of all the 3 characters at least once. So the index of this is actually 4. So 4 minus 6 plus 1, which is 3. So plus 3 is added to this. And you will do this over and over because it is doing in this O of n only. Why? Because both the pointers are at most moving from left to right. So it is just moving of O of 2 of n. So 2 pointers are moving from left to right and just storing out different values and finding out a particular section. So we are finding out the first section, and for the first section, if we find out the rest of section, we can just add out because all the sections are already there. That's what we can do here, the code part. So as you can see, just these are 2 pointers, A and like I and J. J is the right pointer and I is the left pointer, which is moving from left to right. And this is the A is actually storing out the occurrence of all of these like A, B, C, moving from left to right. Okay, then what I'm actually seeing here is, if I find out at any position my A is greater than 0, my B is greater than 0, and my C is greater than 0, now at this point I will know that okay, my total should increase by total length minus j plus 1, which I've told you. Now what I will do, I will move my left. So because I have find out one section, I have added this, I will move my I to the next point. So my I is moving to the next point. I have to subtract the particular I position at which my left pointer was. My left, if my I was A, I'll subtract out my A value from 1, or my B value by 1, or C value by 1. It's actually just so you can just remove this in. It's not required. I will check it out. It is just telling me that because you have found out one particular section, now my next chance is to move my I from left to right, and just will do the same thing. Else, if both my I, J, like both my A, B, C are not completed, something is left, what I will do, I will make a while loop. I will make my right pointer do a while loop, and I will move them such that, like, if any, I will move them such that all of them should be greater than or equal to 0. So I will move them, if anyone is 0, I will keep on moving that, my right pointer, and it should be inbound also. Okay, so it should be inbound, and what I will do, I will just keep on adding my j pointer, and wherever my j pointer will go, if it is A, I will increment my value A by 1. So 0, 1, 2 is actually storing out the first value is for A, this is for B, and this is for C. So whenever I hit a, I will increment my first value by A, 1 or 2 or like so on, and I will also increment my j. And whenever my j stops, it means that at this point I have encountered all A, B, and C, and we will do the same thing again. And because I have encountered the same, if all of them are greater than 0, we'll just increment my total by that, and we can subtract. So it is just doing the same thing because I've used continue here. That's why I've written the same code again here, because whenever in the start only I hit a position which is having A, B, and C same. So I will tell you the thing which I've told you. So as you can see in an example like this, A, B, C, C, I will make my I point to this point, and my J will move from left to right. So it is like at this point my A, B, C frequencies, it is first equal to 1, then my J pointer is moving to this point, so it will again increment value by 2, then it will come to this point, increment J by 1, like B by 1, and it come to this point, it will increment by 1. So at this point now I have actually formed a substring which is consisting of both A, B, and C at least once. So the number of substrings starting from this having all A, B, C is equal to this, and also this. Now as you can see, if I just move my left pointer by 1, at this point also still I have formed a substring consisting of all ABCs greater than or equal to 1. I hope you get the point. So I don't have to go through the same thing again. At the start only I just checked out that it should be greater than or equal to 1. I just checked it and just continue out my next iteration. Else if we haven't checked it, I will move my J pointer to the left right part and find out my next position, for which I have to find out my total. I hope you get the point for this example also. You can also like pause your video and look at the code part. The fourth problem is actually counting out all the valid delivery, pickup, and delivery options. So it is actually telling you to actually find out total number of different sequences you can form out such that there are n orders. So there are n orders, there is some pickups and some deliveries. So you have to make different orders such that so if there is one pickup 1, then the delivery 1 should be after that also only. So you have to, if there are, as you can see, they have told you that there are two pickups and 2 deliveries. So how many different orders you can form? So as you can see, the first order can be 1 pickup, the second pickup, delivery 1, delivery 2. So delivery 1 should be always after pickup 1. It cannot be happening before that. So as you can see, it can also happen that pickup 1, pickup 2, and then delivery to delivery 1. So because as you can see, delivery 2 obviously will be after pickup 2. So there are 6 options like this, and you have to print out how many options are there. You have to also do a modulo 20 by 9 plus 7. So for all the modulo 20 by 9 plus 7 videos, how you can use them, I've always used this type of functions to find out my answer. I have just used these 3 functions. You can also watch my previous videos to understand how I use this functions, and that will make actually my life very easy to solve modular problems. So I just write down these three functions, the mod function, and using this mod function I write down multiplication and add function, and whenever I solve, sort, or like see this type of modular problems, I just use out these functions. So in adding two numbers, instead of adding two numbers, I just use out this function, and multiply, I use this multiply function. Okay. So what this problem is actually asking you is, so if there is some p1, then, so let's assume that there are n orders. If there are n orders, there are two n slots I have to fill. So you can assume that there are two n slots. So for simplicity, n is equal to 3. So there should be 6 slots. 1, 3, 6. 6 slots mean that there should be one pickup and the other should be one delivery. Then there should be this pickup, then this can delivery, this pickup, okay, and then some delivery. I hope you get the point. So this is how you can fill this out. So this can be one order. So as you can see now, if this is the first, like if I put the first pickup value here, okay, if I put the first pickup value here, then the option for the delivery is 2n minus 1. Okay, now if I put the second pickup here, like if I have 2n minus 1 positions for the delivery, I can put the d1 in any 2n minus 1 positions. If I put the d1 here, then I should, like, this is fine, like this is forming a pair, which is perfectly well. Now if I can put a p2 here, then again now I have 2n minus 3 options left for d2, and so on. Okay, so this is actually, and so d1 into, like, so 2n minus 1, okay, so as you can see, into 2n minus 2 into 2n minus 3, 2. So at every point the value of this is decreasing by 2, so then it will become 2n minus 5, and so on. It will go on till 1 because there is only one option left. Okay, so this is one possible combination in which I first use p1, but the order can also shuffle out. The order can shuffle out means that I can start out with p2 here and then I can use p1. I hope you get the point. So there are n factorial ways also for that. So the answer is this number multiplication for n multiply with n factorial. Okay, so this is just a like combinatorics problem. You have to like find out the answer for that. So for n factorial, you have just find out the factorial value. Okay, so factorial is like 5 factorial if you want to find out. So you can store it for, because the value is up to 100, like 500. So I find out the factorial for all the values. Okay, and just use some vector, and the initial value is 1 and 1. The second value, because you are, so like the first factorial is 1, second factorial is like 2, then 6. So you keep on multiplying. So for i's factorial, you are multiplying the I minus 1 into I. So you are using this multiply function instead of multiplying directly, because it can overflow, because the value can become so large. You can use this multiply function, which is actually directly doing this modular value. Okay, and for finding out the other part, so this add function is not used, but I've just written it out. For the other part, finding out that multiplication of 2n minus 1, then 2n minus 2, and so on, we have also done this here. And the particular answer is multiplication of the factorial, n factorial, and the particular. So if I have used n terms, if my n is equal to somewhat like 5, I have to take multiply of the n values. So the first value of 2n minus 1, 2n minus 3, 2n minus 5, and so on. 5 values. And the 5 values are stored here. Just print out multiplication of both of them. So also multiply using the modular function here. Okay. So that's the logic and code for all the 4 problems. If you have any doubts, you can mention down. I'll say this one, then keep coding, and bye.